Hello, and welcome to Auto Be Careful, the place for car safety news and information. I'm Gene, and today we're going to be talking about whether or not the driver is responsible for the damage in a collision if the driver assist features turn off. Let's start with a little bit of background. A few weeks ago, Mark Rober published a YouTube video in which he provides a great explanation of how LiDAR works and how it can be used in vehicles with driver assist technology. The video compares a vehicle that uses LiDAR against a Tesla Model Y, which relies heavily on cameras to detect its surroundings. If you're interested in the technology behind each system, the video provides an explanation that can be helpful, so I'll link it in the description below so that you can go check it out. I'm going to focus on the last automotive test in the video, which raises some very interesting questions. In the video, it appears as though the Tesla fails to stop before hitting an obstacle after the driver assist features have been enabled. However, some eagle eyed viewers noted that at the moment of impact, the driver assist features were not enabled. This caused some people to question the legitimacy of these results, since driver assist technologies can't be expected to avoid an obstacle if they're not turned on. Due to the editing of the video, it wasn't exactly clear what happened, so Mark uploaded the raw footage from the test, and the results were pretty shocking. In reviewing the unedited footage, it appears as though the driver assist technologies were enabled at the start of the test, but the Tesla appears to disengage these driver assist features less than 1 second prior to impact, with no braking or evasive maneuvers done to avoid the obstacle. Furthermore, the vehicle appears to provide no advance warning that these systems would disengage. Since the vehicle was traveling at 40 miles an hour, it would not have been possible to stop in time to avoid the obstacle. However, instead of trying to minimize the damage, the vehicle appears to simply disengage any level of driver assistance. This prompted several nefarious theories online. What makes matters worse is the NHTSA had already opened an investigation into Tesla's driver assist technologies in June of 2022. This investigation was prompted by an accumulation of crashes into stationary first responder vehicles. In 16 collisions reviewed in the investigation, the NHTSA found that Tesla's driver assist technology disengaged on average less than 1 second prior to impact. In 4 of these incidents, the vehicle didn't provide any visual or audio warnings to let the driver know that the system would disengage. Driver assist systems can sometimes disengage if it determines that the driver isn't being attentive or if the vehicle is overwhelmed, but it's typical that these systems will provide an alert to the driver before this occurs. That investigation did conclude in 2023 with Tesla issuing a recall to add new features that would further encourage drivers to pay attention while the system was in use. However, the NHTSA did open a new investigation into that recall in 2024 as the result of post remedy crash events and preliminary NHTSA tests of remedied vehicles. Ultimately, it's possible that Mark's occurrence is just a coincidence. While it's extremely concerning that there are reported cases of driver assist systems disengaging immediately prior to impact with no warning, as I mentioned in my video on driver assist systems, there isn't a vehicle available today that's capable of self-driving, so the driver remains responsible for controlling the vehicle. Tesla does internally consider any collision that occurs within 5 seconds of their driver assist system disengaging to be related to that system. In most cases, that's a conservative estimate, as their vehicles will generally stop within that time frame if the speed limit's being followed. As interesting as this particular situation is, I want to focus this video on the general responsibilities of vehicles with driver assist systems. Although Tesla and some other manufacturers may consider collisions that occur shortly after these systems disengage to be related to these systems, it doesn't currently appear to be a legal requirement, although that could change in the future. In 2021, the NHTSA issued a standing order to manufacturers to report any collision that occurs within 30 seconds of their driver assist technology disengaging if that system is level 3 or above. It also issued a similar order for level 2 systems if the collision meets certain conditions, like a fatality or a vehicle towaway. This doesn't necessarily mean that the driver assist system has anything to do with the collision. For example, if a collision does occur 25 seconds after the system disengages, it's unlikely to be related, although this does seem to indicate that this data could be valuable. So the big question is, how long after the driver assist system disengages is the vehicle responsible for its actions? This is still being investigated, but one way to think about it is by looking at total braking time. Total braking time is generally broken up into three separate categories: perception time, reaction time, and stopping time. Perception time is the amount of time it takes from when an obstacle appears to when the driver registers it as a hazard. This can depend on many factors, including if the driver is doing something else like checking their blind spot. Reaction time is the amount of time it takes from when the driver recognizes the hazard until the driver takes an action like pressing on the brake pedal. This can depend on many factors as well, including if the driver is inexperienced and unsure which action to take, like braking versus swerving. Stopping time is the amount of time it takes from when the brake pedal is pressed until the vehicle comes to a complete stop. This can depend on factors like how fast the vehicle is traveling and how well the vehicle is maintained. While the first two components are heavily dependent on the driver, the third is heavily dependent on the vehicle. Can the vehicle be expected to stop in a set amount of time if the tires or brakes are worn? What about if the brake fluid hasn't been changed in a while? Is the driver assist system responsible for a failure to avoid a collision if the vehicle hasn't been maintained properly? Should driver assist features be disabled if the vehicle's maintenance is out of date? There are external factors as well. What if the vehicle has been properly maintained but can't stop in time due to an icy road? There are a lot of questions we need to get answers to. For level 2 systems where the driver is expected to be in control of the vehicle, which again is the highest level of driver assist available today, including what was observed in Mark's video, it may be determined that the driver is responsible for any actions taken, even if the driver assist technology turns off right before a collision. However, for levels 3, 4, and 5, where the vehicle is expected to be in control unsupervised at least part of the time, the responsibility of a collision may fall on the vehicle itself. The question then becomes, how long after the system disengages should the vehicle's responsibility end? Should it be immediately when the system disengages? Should it be a set time after that system disengages, like the 5-second rule that Tesla currently uses? Should it be one or more components of that total braking time after the system disengages? Or should we use some other metric to determine this? This is a hot topic worthy of a lot of discussion, but we're going to need to have an answer by the time the first collision occurs with a level 3 vehicle. If you have ideas on where the limits of this responsibility should be, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, and remember to like and subscribe.